What time is it? It's journey time, and time for another creative journey using Stampin' Up products. Hello, my name is Kathy Haynes, and today we're going to create this fun blending brush technique, diaper wipe technique card using the Spooky Halloween bundle. The dies are over at my die cutting station, but boy are they fun. So you'll see the ones we're going to use: the house, the bats, the spider web, the fence, but also there's a cat, there's a spider, there's just so much. So let's go ahead and get this journey going. So the first thing I want to talk about is we're going to do this background here. So the sky is going to be pumpkin pie, cherry cobbler, a little bit of Highland heather, and then blackberry bliss. And so we're going to blend this spooky background. Now I do want to point out that I had a Wink of Stella explosion, and that is why this is all frosted, but I didn't. The one I'm doing today is not going to have Wink of Stella on it. So you can choose to use it, put some on the bats, whatever you want to do. And also this piece here, I'm going to do a bit differently. This is just a, I think a 1 1/4 circle punched out and sponged a little, but we're going to do a hidden, or a, what do you call that? A masking technique to have our moon right back there. So let's go ahead and get started. Now the first thing is, how did I get all these different cloud shapes? Well, I used a template I just had on hand. I don't know what company I bought that from. It was fun. But if you don't have that template, let me show you what I've done. So if you remember, it's retired, the basic border dies, and so it had all these different dies. There's a bat in there for some reason, probably doesn't belong there. It also had this die. So with this die, and then, so you have to be creative. The Adventure Skies, I think it's called, Adventurous Sky. It had 1, 2, 3 different clouds. So I went ahead, and window sheet didn't work for me. It was too tough, but I had some project folder covers. So that is what I used. Let me see if I can show you. So this is the border here that I cut out. Now I did have to run it through a few times. You could do this on cardstock and it'd be super easy, but I don't know how many times you'd be able to use it. So I wanted something on acetate that I could use, you know, or you could buy stencil material. But I cut through there, and if you can see that, and then I also cut 3 different cloud shapes. So if you have the Adventurous Skies or the border, or you could just fussy cut this yourself, any cloud die will do, or purchase a cloud stencil. I'm going to go ahead and use this one today to see how it works. So this will surprise you and me. So let's get started. I have my brushes off to the side and my kit. Where is my kit? Here it is. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with all the dimensions will be linked below. And I also will be doing at least 1 or 2 more videos using this Spooky Halloween because it is so much fun. And then the other Halloween one that Stampin' Up has out, which I don't remember the name of, but I will link any videos to those above up here, right about there, I believe, once I make those videos. But let's start with I believe this is 5, and so it's 5 long, 3 3/4 wide. I'm going to start I'm going to leave about an inch and a half down here empty at this point. I'm going to start with pumpkin pie, and I have the crushed curry, so let me grab the pumpkin pie. Where are you? Mango? Where are you, pumpkin pie? I am not seeing it. So let's just start with mango and see if that works. We'll know when I'm done, because I think if I mix the red down, in fact, it might even be better. So we're going to start this time with Mango Melody, although you could use pumpkin pie. And we're going to start here and just brush along around. Okay, going up because we're going to want to mix some of that cherry cobbler. And in this case, it's okay to have swirls because we want that swirly sky effect. Now I'm going to put that aside and I'm going to start with my cherry cobbler. Okay. And I always like to step off first. Okay, and I'm going to bring it down a little to try to get the orange effect down here too, along with the yellow, since that was my intention. Okay, so we're going to stop there. Don't give up on me. This is going to look cute when it's done. Just wait and see. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and use my Highland Heather to kind of transition into the darker Blackberry Bliss. Okay, and like I said, these swirls are okay, as Bob Ross would say. There are no mistakes. And then we're going to start with our Blackberry Bliss. I'm going to use the same, because it's darker, tap off, and then just go around the edges. Okay, and with the Blackberry Bliss, I kind of want to make it my shadowing color. So I'll bring it down, bring it on down. Crafters, bring it on down. But I want kind of a lot at the top. Okay, now I'm going to quit and I'm going to wipe this off. Let me get a wet one. And we will be using these diaper wipes in just a minute. But this is just to clean it off. Okay, there we go. Put this away. Well, I'm going to keep this out for right now because the next thing I want to do, I'm going to do my green at the bottom. So this is the grassy area. Now on this pad, this is the area closest to the paper. So if we put it here, we've got that much room. The sides, you have all that room. So I like to do direct to paper with the side closest to the paper. And I'm going to lightly bring this down and drag and do it different ways. Put a little bit of pressure. Okay. And there we have our grassy area. Isn't that cute? Wipe it one more time. Now you want to wipe it before you do the green because you don't want to bring those other colors up and muddy your grass. Then it will look like you have dead grass. So there we go. That's part of it. So how do we get this to this? That's the next step. And so we're going to try using the stencil we just created this time. So this is a test. So I'm going to put it up here and I'm making it angled. So remember, when you have stencils, you can angle them, twist them, you can tip them over. It gives a different cloud direction. But let's see what we can do. So I'm going to start with the Blackberry Bliss, ink it up really, really good. And I'm going to just put it right above the clouds. So okay. So you want to see what happens? It's magic. Isn't that amazing? Okay. Now I'm going to go down and I want to use the next color, but I'm going to wipe it off a little bit and turn it over so I have a different pattern. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try the Highland Heather. Okay, and I buy these. They're silicone scrubbers. They work perfect for cleaning off your brush a little bit because I really don't want that darker color to show, up too much. So here is the Highland Heather. Ink it up really good. Okay, and I think right about there, I'm going to tilt it down a little. Okay. Go. And let's see what color comes out of this. Do it 2 or 3 times and then lift. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Now I'm going to take the diaper wipe, clean up my mess, wipe it up a little bit, Turn it over in case anything's on there. Sure was. Okay, now I'm going to go down into the cherry. Okay, and I've turned it over again, but I'm going to move it over so it doesn't look so much like the cloud before at the top. Okay, let's get the cherry. Cherry cobbler. Okay, pick it up and do a little of this. Okay. And there you have it. We have all these different colors clouds. Isn't that amazing? Now you could stop right there and finish your card, but I just want to show you, because I thought it was cool, this diaper wipe technique. So what I'm going to do, I'm only going to do a couple, and I think I'm only going to do the smaller clouds. But sometimes you have clouds floating in layers, and so this is going to give you more of a floating in layers feeling. So I'm going to take a diaper wipe, I'm going to scrunch it up. I put the smaller cloud right there, and I'm just going to go in there and do circles and push, and I'm just trying to pick up some of the color. Okay, now as it dries, more color will disappear, so you really can't see it right there, but you trust me, you'll be able to see it later. Then I think up here I'm going to do it right here. And you want to go straight up and down because you want good lines. So there we go. Okay, so it doesn't appear a lot to you, but it will kind of evaporate. And then I think 2 of those is enough for this one. Can you see it kind of evaporating? So maybe my diaper wipe could have been a little wetter, but I think it's fine. So isn't that great? I love when you take white paper and bring it to life. So now what I didn't do, and I'm going to show you on the back since I didn't do it, I'm going to show you what you can do. So this is what I should have done, was this is Post-it note paper, and I've used the, I think 1 1/4 punch and put it right there. And then when you're doing all this, this is what should have happened. Okay. And we do all our work that we just did on the other side, on that side, all the different colors, the whole bit, and then peel that up and look, you have your moon. But in this case, I forgot to do it on this one too, so I just punched a white piece of cardstock out and brushed it across it. So I'll do that towards the end of this, because I don't have one handy, and I don't want to make you go through the whole thing of me doing this over. So this is ours for now. In fact, I will go grab that punch right now. Just hold on, hold. Alrighty. So let me grab some white cardstock. This is an old punch from Stampin Up. I still have them. They were great. So since I messed up, and yes, we do make mistakes as crafters, but they are just opportunities to fix things. So what I'm going to do while I have my stamp here, now if you are smart and you punch out, this is sticky note, so half of this is sticky, so you punch out right where the sticky note is sticky, so that you can lay that down there and it will stick over and over and over again. But that stark contrast right there, you know, kind of doesn't work. So you just take your brushes and go over them with the colors you've already used and just give it some color. There's some yellow because it's a moon, and you can see where that just kind of takes away the starkness of it. But since we don't have that, we are going to use just this. And where's my purple? Here's my yellow. Put yellow at the bottom, so make it look like a sunset. And then we'll end up sticking it right back here. So that still looks great. Either way you do it will work. Now we have our haunted house. But behind the haunted house, we want vellum paper, but we want to color it yellow. So how you do that is you put your punched out haunted house down like this and just trace it up to here and around, and then you're going to go in and fussy cut it, but fussy cut it towards the inside of it, because you'll see that you don't need it. Hold on. So you don't want it to go over. So cut on the inside. You're just trying to cover all those windows. I'm going to cut towards the inside. And you really don't even need that one steeple, but you do need this steeple. Okay. Obviously my scissors have been in glue. But cut on the inside. You really don't need it to even be the shape. All we're trying to do is cover the windows. All right, so here's the black one. I'm going to turn it around, put it where nothing shows. So I've got a little bit here I need to cut off. So just clean it up the best you can. And then I'll cut off here on the bottom a little bit. And now I'm going to glue those two together using Tombow. So I'm going to turn this over. Don't use a lot. You don't want it seeping out. Dot, dot, dot. Not a lot. Okay. I just stick that on top of my, line it up. Nothing showing. But now I have this stark white. And that's not what I really wanted. I want it to look, so you could leave it just like that, it's fine. But I wanted it to look like the lights were on in the house. So I'm gonna take a yellow, and this is actually a blendability, Daffodil Delight. And I'm just gonna put some yellow on there, okay? And you could put a little or a lot. If you don't have blends, you need any kind of alcohol marker will work. So this is a different brand. Go this side. And any kind of alcohol marker will work on vellum, because vellum is a non-porous surface. So just get some bright colors in there. There, what a difference, huh? Okay, so now I have my house, I have my, and I want to put my house a little bit crooked. But I also have my fence, and this is the fence that it cuts out. Okay, so I'm going to cut this after the third, and then cut off these stragglers. Then I'm going to use Tombow and glue it down again, just not too much. This one seems, it's hotter in here, so I think it tends to, so I want to put that right like that. You can make your fence a little bit crooked, because it's an old wobbly fence going to the haunted house. Okay. You can also use tweezers to do this. Okay, and off, I want it to go off the paper here, so you assume that the fence is going on. Okay, now I'm going to glue my moon down. Guess you're right about there. Okay, and I'm gonna have my yellow at the bottom and the purples and the reds at the top. Now I want to pop up my house. So I am going to use some black dimensionals that Stampin' Up sells. As soon as I can find them, here they are. Okay, so when you buy a package like this, you get the big ones and the little ones. So for the house, I'm going to use the big black ones. But don't put them over any windows. You don't want to see them behind the windows. So there, and then one more over here. This one may need a little one because there's not a lot of room. So I'm going to put a little one right there. Then I'm going to pop up my house, and I just flick those over to the side where the rest of the mess is. And I don't want my house perfectly straight either, so I'm just going to bend it just a little bit. Okay, now we're going to take our spider web that we used from the same set, and it's okay if a couple of them don't pop out, but I'll try to get them out before I put this on. And I'm not doing glue all the way down to the bottom because I do want it to have a little bit of room. So let me try to pop that out. There, that's good enough. And I want to put that right on the edge. Okay, there we go. Stay there. I think my fingers are stickier than the web. Well, it's a web, that's why it's sticky. So, my fingers off of here. Let me try to clean them off a little bit. All right. So I pretty much covered up that one, but at least you know the technique. Isn't that fun? Now we've got, there's a cat I could put on there, but I'm not going to. Let me find my bats. Okay, so for this sake, here they are. Here's one bat. You thought I was gone batty, didn't you? Okay. Now tell me where the one bat went when I said I've got one bat there. I didn't have it. Okay, so the way I do my bats is I bend them up right at with my thumbnail, and then I'm going to use a glue dot. Just one glue dot, and I think I'm going to put one over here. And then I want one bat to kind of cover the moon a little bit, so I'm going to bend it up with my fingernail, bend it a little bit, give it some shape, and get another glue dot. Whoop, I just killed my bat. That's okay. I'm going to get another glue dot. Alrighty. The bat is in recovery. And I want it to kind of go off to the side, but kind of put a shadow on the moon still. So isn't that fun? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to layer it with my black cardstock, which would be, the dimensions will be below. And I'm going to go ahead and put this side that nobody will ever see onto this. I have to tell you something. I had to do a baby shower invitation, and it was a bit troublesome for me because it was a bit on the other side, you know, kind of heavy metal, kind of not fun and pretty and all that. It was kind of dark, and I didn't want to let my daughter down because it was for her friend. But my solution to that problem was I printed out scripture on little cards against all the principalities of the air, and I stuck it between the two layers. So the Word of God was there still, even if they didn't know it. So comment what you think about that. All right, now I want to pop this layer up, so I'm going to use the big dimensionals. We're almost through, guys. You can put 4 or 5, and I'm going to layer that onto my base. And you know, these dimensionals, I've had these forever, and they're still great. All right, I'm going to layer that onto here, pop it up, make it as straight as I can. So what do you think? Isn't that fun? You know, there's so many cute things in that set, like the word eek and the booze, or the boo. If you put one, it's just boo. If you put two, it's booze. And what else? Let me show you the card. I will put the video up here once I complete it, but look how fun this card is. I already have it wrapped, but I doubled up the eek. We've got the puppy Frankenstein. It's just so cute. So again, I will link it, or go ahead and like and subscribe and hit the notification bell below, and then you'll see all my videos I upload. So I hope you like it. You can also, here, let me grab this. Stampin' Up has some great embellishments, but I like to buy like these sparkly ones at the dollar store, local dollar store, whatever you have around you. But it's about this big, and it has all that. And then I just use the Stampin' Up colors, and I color on top of them. So this is Parakeet Parade. And then when I go to use it, I just pull it and stick it. So we're going to stick some on them to give them some. And where is my pick tool? It should have been right here, but I'm going to peel it up this way. This is the way to do it. Peel it up, put it down, and stick it. Pick it up, put it down, and then with your nail, just kind of pull it off. And we need one more, because you should always go in threes. So let's put that one. Just, where do you think, you guys? We'll just stick it down here. Just have to have three, it brings the eye. Now, a couple of more things. What you could also do on this one, which I did on this one, if you want, is open the door. And you simply take a pair of scissors, go in there, and cut. So cut up here and cut over there, and then you will have the open door. Okay? So what do you think? Let me know below. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't like that one right there. Let's try putting it right there. Oh, and one more thing you could do, if you have water handy and you want more movement in the back, is you just spray some water in your hand and flick. Spray some water in your hand and flick. Okay? And you'll see that that gives it, as it dries, just like with the water technique, you see all those, especially up here, will start to fade. And so you can see in here where I've done it after it's dried. You just get more dimension in your card. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you'll join me on another creative journey. I hope that you'll like and subscribe below. But most of all, until we meet again, may all your layers be straight and all your bling shine. Thank you for joining me on this creative journey.